My job tonight is to use the normal rig that we see here, that I've just nearly finished rigging, but I have a 130 PDS, which is here, and it's got a guide scope, and I want to use this as a secondary rig. I'm going to control the whole thing, with any luck, using a Raspberry Pi. So I'm going to use Astroberry, and because the 130 PDS is nice and light, my Eq5 Pro should be absolutely perfect for this particular mount. And I'm going to use my fan-cooled camera. I'm also going to use a ZWO camera as well. So I'm not quite ready with this. The sole purpose of tonight is learning. It's just learning how to use it. The Astroberry stuff. So as I've already got the other rig out as well, I'll be able to do some imaging, but my goal is to have two rigs that can be imaging at the same time. One Raspberry Pi, one very, very small screen, which is hard to read, tiny keyboard, mouse, and there's the telescope. The other telescope is there and it's imaging, but it is completely cloudy, unfortunately, and I can't see Polaris at the moment, so it's no good. So I'm in K-stars and just trying to find my way around. I've managed to attach all of the gear, and I've managed to get the telescope to park. I currently can't get it to slew, but that's okay. It's all about learning tonight, so I'm hoping it's going to become clear enough for me to be able to slew the telescope and do a polar alignment routine, because that's what I really want to get to. I want to learn how to do the polar alignment routine tonight. So let's see how we get on. I'm also using a powered USB hub, which is there because I read that the power on the Raspberry Pi is not necessarily enough for your Astro cameras, so you have to use a powered hub. So I'm using a USB 3 powered hub going into one of the USB 3 sockets on the side there. So let's see if we can get anything at all. And there's my cat. Right, so if I go and unpark the scope and then search M42, click OK, and then if I click slew, hey, the mount is slewing. Great. Okay, that's really good. So I've got to the point where I've connected the cameras, I have got control of the mount, and that's all good news. So I am very pleased. Not been able to plate solve tonight. I've not been able to do polar alignment tonight because it's really cloudy, but I'm pleased I've got this far. So I'm just going to park the mount now. There we go. So the mount's parking, and because it's cloudy I'm going to pack up. So I'll call that a success so far. Good first attempt. Okay, a few little changes. I want to add a dovetail bar across here so I can mount a guide scope, and I've got a little bracket that I'm hoping to attach the guide scope to. And this particular scope came with this gorgeous anodized green dovetail, but I don't want to damage this, so I'm not going to use this one because I've got a black one I'm going to use, which I mean, again, I don't want to damage this, but the Eq5 Pro doesn't have a way of mounting without damaging it, so I use a little shim of metal to protect it. So I'm not going to use this one at the moment, I'm just going to use this one. So let's make some changes. Very interesting. Here is the ring which goes around the telescope. The thread which goes on this is actually a camera thread, and I've just measured it, and it's 20 1/4, which is a standard camera thread. And if I get the bolt which we've got here, that will go straight in. So that's an actual proper camera thread. So they've used camera threads throughout, which is very interesting because that's an imperial thread, and I didn't realise that. And that also means that on the base here of this dovetail on my guide scope, it's also the same imperial thread, and I didn't realise that. So I won't be able to make any changes to this telescope today because I don't have any imperial camera thread, the 20 1/4 thread pitch that we've got here. So I'll have to wait for some to arrive. .130 PDS, Eq5 Pro, Raspberry Pi version 4, and I'm going to be hopefully trying to get this to control all of this with guiding as well. So I've got a guide scope, my imaging camera as well, and the idea of this exercise right now is cable management and trying to get it to balance. Now I know I've previously tried to balance this, and I'm with a DSLR, and I put the DSLR there, but for this exercise what I really want to do now is get all the weight as close to the lowest point as possible, so that's why the camera is pointing down. Ideally I'd like the guide scope to be on a bracket here, but I've not been able to get that bracket sorted yet because I haven't got the correct threaded bolts to go on there at the moment. So I'm going to try and rig it. I'm going to plug in all of the dew heaters and everything, look a little bit at my cable management, and also I want to be able to plug in a USB hub somewhere on here so that I can plug the cameras in and make sure that they easily have a line down to the Raspberry Pi. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'll crack on with this. I'm going to need some Velcro. This is the dew controller I'm using. I already have a 2-port one of these, but I really fancied using a 4-port one so I could individually control the individual dew heaters. Now this particular telescope could potentially have up to 3 dew heaters, one near the base potentially, but some people say not sure that's needed if you've got it properly cooled down. The other one would be on the guide camera, so on this side. So I've got that on the guide camera, and then potentially there could be another one on the secondary mirror, but I'm not sure yet, so I don't know. And then also, because I like to do time lapses, potentially I might put another one on the lens of a DSLR camera doing a time lapse, maybe of the sky and the telescope tracking the sky. In addition to that, it has a DSLR power output and 2 other power outputs, so I could potentially put the power into this and then power the mount. And it also has a USB socket, so you can control it via software. So we'll see how we get on with positioning this somewhere on this lot. Now that's interesting. I've put my USB hub here, which was going to bring both of these cameras onto a USB hub. But I've just realised that as the sky rotates, it's going to be fouling against the mount, so I need to find somewhere else to put that. Okay, that seems to work. I'll just put it on the eyepiece tray. Yeah, that seems to work. Okay, I think we're there. I need to do some cable management around here. The imaging camera and the guide camera, these cables here, need to be in a little sock to protect them, to stop them snagging. And also, because I can't access the focuser very easily, so I've had to rotate it slightly. I think that's okay, and it is balanced. It's staying exactly where I put it. I need to resolve how the Raspberry Pi is mounted. I'm happy that the USB hub is on the eyepiece tray. Yeah, I think that will work.